Hi guys, bit of a short one this week really. I haven't been out in the shop much for a number of reasons. Had a bit of the old something a bit like flu. The other thing is, of course, as time goes on it's going to get colder and colder out here. So the exact opposite of my overheating problems. I've also got a lot of what I'd call mundane general jobs to do, sorting out. The place is absolute chaos, and flat surface-itis is biting badly. I can't really see a flat surface anywhere. So I'm just covering a few odds and ends, possibly of interest. Since I did the chuck backplate, I've done some more critical setting up, and I've got things at the moment pretty good. I don't know how repeatable they'll be when the chuck's been on and off a few times, but it's certainly much more encouraging than I had initially. I did find that there was a very slight, I had to just take a fraction of a thou off the mating surface between the backplate and the chuck. There was just a very slight lack of alignment, very small, but when I checked the end of the drill rod test piece, the readings were not coincident, which suggested the problem. So I've at the moment got it down pretty good. I'll show you that. And I've got one or two bits and pieces I've got in recent times, all in the budget division. Nothing super expensive, just things to add to the armoury. So anyway, I won't waffle on any longer, which you'll be pleased to know. I'll just run through some odds and ends and put this up as a sort of filler video. I'd like to get stuck into something substantial, but I don't know how quickly or easily that'll occur, so things may be a bit more spread out for a while. Alright. I don't know how well this will work. I've got a cardboard box perched up above the indicator. I think you might be able to see the needle. What I'm trying to do here is, just a minute, trying to see, I'm trying to see if I can get this in frame between two positions, just to show we're not cheating. So that's about 1.25 inches out, and that has got down. Bear in mind this is the metric indicator, my favourite for sensitivity. So each scale is about half a thou. And this piece of drill rod, when I checked it on my rollers, has about 2 to 3/10 run out over the length. Let's see what we get here. Oh, you might see that it's just moving. Come down halfway. Oops. Still a little movement there. And back down to here. I've got some corrosion marks on there which don't help. Alright, so there you go. Just to show that we've got the setup a bit better now. It was a lot of fiddle, as you can imagine, the final stages of setting up, but I'm quite pleased to get that as it is at the moment. Although some of these things are fairly new, I've actually had some of them a little while, but I thought I'd just run through odds and ends, seeing as I haven't got any actual machining to show you this week. I've got on the other end of the scale on the ER series. I've got ER16 and on an R8 and also on a parallel, so that can go in the chuck. I haven't actually got a collet that'll suit that, I don't think, but that could go in the chuck for something very small. The set does go down to 1/32, but another reason I wanted it was the largest one, which is there, 3/8. As most of you will probably know, the ER series is much more stretchable, shall we say, and that means that the 3/8 will accept a, if I remember rightly, I'm just checking to remind myself, yes, the 3/8 will accept a 10mm. I've got some metric end mills that were passed on to me, so I could use a metric in there, and otherwise, as I say, just for very, very small stuff sometimes could be handy. And the other end of the scale on the ER series for on an R8, gone all the way up to ER40. I'll tell you why. Another, or two reasons. One is my 1-inch end mill, which is screwed up now, needs to be dealt with. I wanted a means of getting 1-inch end mills. This is a new one, not a bad price, and I got a roughing one coming soon, but it's very rare. Actually, you've got to take that out. I'm going to take that out to get the sucker in. And that gives me a way to use a 1-inch shank on an inch end mill. So that's quite useful, and at the same time, or about the same time, I decided to get a 5/8, because that will allow me to use some 16mm end mills. I've got a number of metrics and I want to be able to use them in collets, of course. And then also on the R8 theme, I got this. It's an MT2. I've got several things on number 2 Morse, quite a lot of drills. Sometimes I use those in the lathe, but occasionally they might be useful to have available in the mill. So just another auxiliary piece. None of these things is going to get used all the time, but useful to have. Here's another cheap and cheerful. Import, import, import. The reason I wanted this was, although my live center is doing just fine, on occasions I want a different fitting, and this gives you an option to change. That one's quite useful, a little bell end. I've got a, I don't know, 2-inch, at least 2-inch bell center for tubing, but I don't use it often, and it's bigger than needed. That one's quite handy. The other one is the reduced point, which is handy if you're trying to get your tooling in. The others are not very important. There are a couple of those aren't very special. Oh, there's a 45 degree there, and this one and the one that is in the center are particularly handy. Sometimes you get a tap that, instead of having a center on it, which small ones often don't, you do sometimes get a tap with a point. I forget now whether it's 60 degree or 45. But anyway, that gives you something to put a pointed end in. I don't suppose that'll be used much, but now and again, bit handy. Not all that long ago, Dale, who does the tips and tricks channel, he was using an angle block, and I thought, oh, I must look out my angle block singular, which was just a 30° that I've had forever, and I think now it's vanished into the realms of infinity, because I don't think I'm going to find it. So I got this little set of angle blocks, Enco, fairly budget, I guess they're imported. I can't remember whether, yeah, it says China. So anyway, it's a useful set. It's only 8. You can only get sets of 10, but this covers. I'll find a way to get it back in. Right. So 30, 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which gives some combinations. Quite adequate, not overly expensive. And these are like so many things, all sorts of gauges and blocks and such like. You don't need them every day, but sometimes you really do need them. One other thing I got actually a little while ago, and I hadn't really got round to checking them out properly. Sorted a number of clamps, and some pretty huge T-nuts there. And these old ones, these are pretty clapped out, but these are the ones I was interested in, and I think there is a name for them actually. J&S Tools, Livingston, New Jersey. And you've got this adjustment on the end. So once you've set up initially, depending what packing you need at the back, unless there's any other method, but the thing that's interesting is the dovetail. 2 dovetails there. Nice idea. And then these, same idea, just bigger. So I shall clean these up and explore how I can best use them. Somebody may have an idea actually as to the proper way. What I like though is that jaw adjustment. So I'll take them all apart, strip them down, clean them, and then see what we can do. Finally, just a couple of things I've got to try and get into use. This is an old shaded pole motor. I've taken the rotor out. I was watching Greg, I think it is, isn't it? Greg Halligan, and he was making a demagnetizer using one of these, and I get tired of some of the tools that get magnetized, so I've got to try and get that wired up, get that into use. And then this is a microphone gooseneck. It's quite substantial. It's got a fair bit of friction in it, but the thread is 5/8 by 28 TPI, which is a bit odd. So I'm going to use some scrap and make some fittings. One end I'll work to go on a mag base, one of the big mag bases, and the other end, I don't know, maybe sort out a way to put a lamp on the end, or some means of fitting an indicator. Just another thing out of many. Alright guys, that's it. Sorry there's no machining. I just hope I can get round to doing something substantial soon, but it's been very difficult recently getting out here. And as I say, I'm dreading the cold. Although I've got the heater, when it gets to a certain point it gets almost impractical. Anyway, there we are, just a sort of update. We'll call this Bits 03, I think, probably. It's about all it's worth being called. Alright, hope to see you before too long anyway. Thanks for watching.